So, I just watched the final episode of The Studio Season 1, the brand new show from Seth Rogen about, well, movie studios and being the head producer at a major movie studio. This is a show that is essentially a meta-commentary on the modern film industry and what it takes to make movies in this new world. It's a satirical comedy that at times I thought was absolutely spectacular and at other times I thought was a little forgettable. If you saw my first reaction video that I made a couple months ago when the show first launched, I raved about it. I thought, man, this might be the new best show on television because those first few episodes were incredible. The way Seth Rogen was able to bring in all of these different elements from Hollywood, all these different people from Hollywood to create one of the best satirical comedies I've ever seen. It was spectacular. And unfortunately, I'm not sure the show really kind of holds up that value of quality throughout all of its episodes and all of its run, but luckily, it does finish strong. So what is The Studio? The Studio stars Seth Rogen. He also co-created the show with a bunch of other people. He plays this Hollywood producer who's taking over Continental Studios, this massive movie studio. And he is the new head of the studio, and he has to tackle and balance these two elements of his life. One element of wanting to be a great executive and make the studio big and make a lot of money and make everybody proud, and also being an artist. He loves movies, he loves art, and he wants to respect the art of film. And unfortunately, these two things don't always go hand in hand. Sometimes they conflict. To make good art, you have to go against the grain of making money, and sometimes making money means going against the grain of making great art. And it really is something that we see constantly coming from Hollywood. These studios balancing this act of making big budget franchise nonsense versus making more risky, artsy, auteur movies. And throughout all these episodes, we see different scenarios that Seth Rogen's character and all of his side characters that are also producers at Continental Studios are going through to sort of pursue their own careers and pursue movies, baby. This is a show about movies. It really is a love letter to film in Hollywood. Each episode is very episodic, right? There is like an overarching story to the whole thing, but each thing is kind of a new concept, a new story, and some of them are a lot stronger than others. Like the opening episode I thought was amazing. The pilot here is incredible. I'm not going to spoil any of it, but they bring in a very notable Hollywood director, and they tell a story about making a Kool-Aid movie. And it is freaking hilarious. Episode 2 is also spectacular. It's about the art of the oneer. If you don't know what a oneer is, it's one long shot. If you watched Adolescence earlier this year, it was a show that was literally just all oneers, and it was amazing. And the way the studio handles it and the concept is so over the top and ridiculous, it's great. There are a lot of other great episodes, like at an award show, how a producer handles getting mentioned at an award show, right? A great episode that I thought was hilarious. You had Zoe Kravitz come in and do a lot of great stuff in that episode. There's an episode about Ron Howard. He has a movie, and they need to tell Ron Howard that he needs to cut a big part of his movie out, but it ends up being like his favorite part of the movie. So how do you tell a director, hey, you need to cut your favorite bit of this movie out because it sucks? And there's so many good elements here that are so meta. So if you're somebody who is working in the industry, pursuing a career in the industry, or just takes an interest to the film industry, this is a show that you're automatically just going to love because it feels like an inside view being written by people who have experienced a lot of the things that happen in this show. And it feels like a little bit of inside baseball to an extent that makes it so much fun to watch because you know a lot of what you're watching is based in some real lived experience by somebody who is writing on this thing. And one of the things, yet again, that really makes this show work is how well they were able to bring in so many notable Hollywood names. The show would have lost a lot of credibility and a lot of interest if you didn't have a lot of the cameos that they had. And yeah, cameos are cheap. They're cheap in anything. Just ask Kathleen Kennedy in Star Wars. You know, they lived on cameos for years, and now cameos just don't really work anymore. Cameos don't work for anybody except for George Santos, apparently. But the high extent of Hollywood cameos that are involved in this show almost on a weekly basis are insane, and they add such an energy and a credibility to this series that's so much fun. And most of these Hollywood people are playing themselves, which makes it even more fun. Like Dave Franco shows up at one point. Dave Franco is so good in the little bit that he's in here. I really did love this show. Yet again, my only real gripe with it is that I think it loses itself a little bit in the center. I think sometimes it's a little too over the top. Like the show is best when it's really guiding that line between over-the-top melodramatic and, like, realism. We're trying to be realistic and tell a story that could actually happen in modern Hollywood, right? When it's guiding itself down that line and balancing both those things, it's really, really great. When it goes too far into almost like the slapstick, over-the-top, fart joke type of comedy, it doesn't work at all for me. Those episodes just kind of lost me, and I felt like the show was wasting a lot of its potential in those. But when it actually stuck to what it actually could be, like that first pilot episode of integrating real Hollywood, real events into a little bit over-the-topness, right, with these characters, then it was so much fun, so funny, and it ended up being a great show and a great time for me personally. So I will give the studio a 4 out of 5. I think it's a solid first season of television, and I cannot wait to see what they do with season 2. What do you guys think of the studio? Let me know down below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one.